I guess when I made my new intro and more, this is a video that would be classified and more because it's not an unboxing, it's not a tutorial review. We're just gonna sit down, have a conversation about some topics that have been hot in the beauty community this week. I hope you guys enjoy this style of video. I'm not really sure how this is gonna go over. Also, before we jump into it, I have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette on my eyes, and I am wearing lashes for like a third video in a row, and I just got this new lash glue that is pretty revolutionary. It is the Duo Quick Set Strip Lash Adhesive, and literally you don't have to wait for your lashes to dry. You just tack it on. It's a different applicator. It's more of a spatula applicator, and I literally stuck my lash on and it stayed, and I didn't really have to take my little tool and adjust it. And I'm really bad with lashes, and I was able to get it on in a first try with my left lash. Right lash always gives me a harder time because it's the first lash I'm putting on. And then I also have a Lime Crime Velveteen lipstick, and this is the shade Wicked. I thought this was a great shade for the fall. Also, I would really appreciate it if you consider subscribing to my channel. I post new videos on Monday through Friday of beauty hauls, subscription unboxings, first impressions, reviews, and more. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. I have 4 topics I would like to cover. The first one being the Tea by Ali Jaclyn Hill parody video that she did, and that was an amazing animation video that she did herself. I will leave a link in the cards as well in the description below of the video. As she mentioned, it is a parody, but it portrayed a really good conspiracy theory about the lipsticks and why the launch was such a flop with them being contaminated. If you did watch it, I would love to know in the comments what you thought of it. I do enjoy Ali's videos. She is a drama channel, but I think she does a really good job putting her videos together. Her thoughts are very well formulated. I definitely enjoy watching them. The second topic is John Cookian. Honestly, I forgot about this guy until I watched a Smoky Glows video. I will link her video in the cards above because he came back doing an apology video. He was the first drama channel I actually came across, and then I found Karina Kaboom, and then little did I realize there was this whole drama beauty community in itself. I've been really tied up in watching these videos ever since. John Cookian, I think, is full of it. He played the victim in his apology video. Like the Jaclyn Hill drama, get it? I am not going to rehash the drama between John Cookian and Peterman. All I'm gonna say is that he accused Peterman of some really serious accusations against him. I watched the full apology video. I don't feel like he has changed. He also has his makeup line, so he probably has been working on a product that needs to be sold, so maybe that's why he made an apology video. It's always convenient when influencers find themselves in a scandal and then they have something that they need to launch to sell. Second to last topic is the Ipsy Glam Bag Plus Ultimate launched this month, and it is not being as well received. I was on Facebook earlier today and I saw that there was a petition going around of how Ipsy should refund all of the Ultimate members because how big of a disappointment it is. I was looking at my Ipsy Glam Bag Ultimate, and I didn't really know many of like the deluxe sample size brands, which is absolutely fine. This is the point of a subscription box, is to get items and brands that you might not have heard of. They might be indie, but you also have some nice high-end brands, which I did find both in my Glam Bag Plus and my Ultimate, but I was a little turned off that it was $50, and I can't tell if I got 7 or 8 full-size products. I tried reading through, it was a little confusing, but I did get a repeat in both my Glam Bag Plus and my Ultimate. And since they're both under the same profile, I would think I wouldn't get a duplicate, which is totally fine because I plan on putting the duplicated products in a future giveaway. I just thought it was a little strange. And I also heard from some other YouTubers who do receive this subscription that they got repeats also. If you guys signed up for Ultimate, what are your thoughts? I would love to know in the comments below. What do you guys think of this petition? Doubt Ipsy will actually refund everyone from it. But it also has me wondering, how is BOXYCHARM going to use this opportunity to make their premium even better? Because you get 6 to 7 full-size products with premium and you're only paying $35. And now the last topic is the Shane and Jeffree collaboration of the beautiful world of Jeffree Star. I've watched part 1. I have watched it multiple times. I actually took a bunch of notes of what I wanted to cover. I've also talked to friends that have watched this, and I've also watched a bunch of videos of reacting and like the drama channels commenting on part 1. I'm already like bracing myself that I might get some hate. Part 1 was boring, changed my mind. It was a lot of fluff. Honestly, I was so bored within the first 20 minutes of it. By then, they finally got on the plane to what actually was the point of this video. I found that the beginning was very misleading because it was like a compilation of the Dramageddon. I thought that they would go into more detail about that. It was briefly touched. We'll talk about that later in this video. But I did like when Shane was packing how we saw a more vulnerable side to him. It was more relatable. I mean, he's talked about his anxiety, his eating disorder. It shows that big YouTubers do go through struggles that like common folk, as like I refer to myself, go through, because I do have anxiety. I do go into slumps of depression. I do struggle with my weight. So I do find Shane being a very relatable person. But what I do have an issue with is him putting on this act that he's poor. And he makes a comment on the lines of he's poor compared to Jeffree. Well, if he's poor compared to Jeffree, I make peanuts compared to Jeffree. And I can understand Shane's frustration because he has been doing YouTube for so long. He is definitely one of those OG YouTubers, but YouTube has definitely changed from when he started versus now. Now kids are being exploited for money. Hello, Daniel Kahn. Or they view it as a quick way to get famous and money. Jake Paul. And there's this sense of going viral these days. He's also not making like these clickbaity videos like Jake Paul, and every other word out of his mouth is buy my merch, buy my merch, buy my merch type thing, and putting 1,000 ads throughout his videos. Like, if he were to put as many ads as a lot of these kids do in their videos, we would be so annoyed and wouldn't even make it all the way through this hour-long video that we are watching. And I'm not saying like don't put ads in your video. Even James Charles got a huge backlash for putting about 8 ads in one of his videos. People are like, really, James? Shane also mentioned that the first series caused the beauty community to kind of uproar. I'm not saying I'm speaking on the behalf of the community, but someone that is a part of the community. I did have an opinion. For me, I thought it was cool to see this different side of Jeffree Star. I discovered Jeffree when I was 14, 15 in high school. I was listening to his music, but I know a lot of people in the community viewed it as a redemption for Jeffree. Like, Shane used his platform to give Jeffree a voice, and a lot of people ended up forgiving Jeffree on it. And that's what people were afraid of this second series was, is it going to be a redemption part 2? Does he have something to sell because his business isn't doing well? There's like a lot of theories, speculations that people do have on this topic. For me, when they first teased about the series, it was portrayed as, oh, we're gonna expose the dark side of the community. And then when the trailer was released, it was called The Beautiful World of Jeffree Star. So people are kind of confused. Are we going to expose that dark side of the beauty community, or is it the beautiful world of Jeffree Star? Obviously, Jeffree does play a huge role in the beauty community, but it's also a very biased role, and it's really hard to do a documentary on the beauty community because of how, I don't even know how to put this into words, but it's very complex, and it's really hard not to be biased. I don't even know who would be the most unbiased person to do this documentary. Me and a friend were talking about it. We said Michelle Phan, because she recently returned, and everyone's joking that she is here to save this toxic community. I'm still having mixed feelings of this collaboration, just because I wasn't impressed with part 1, and if it is a redemption part 2, I don't want to hear it. I did have a really terrible experience with his customer service for his Jeffree Star cosmetics. I know a lot of people have, and honestly, if someone to his magnitude is handling his customer service very poorly, it's very shocking, because you see his vault, you see his cars, you see all of this stuff. Why are you giving your customers such a hard time? Why do you treat them like crap when they have concerns and pretend that there is no issue? We'll get to that later as well. So it has always left a really bad taste in my mouth ever since that experience. I finally broke on my Jeffree buy, and I did buy the Jawbreaker palette. I have used it on my channel once, and I didn't even mention I was using that palette. And it's not that I didn't want to mention that it was, it's because the point of the video is you had to guess what palette it was. It was such a fun collaboration I did with Karen Ann and a bunch of other YouTubers, and I had just received that palette that day and I really wanted to use it. But I haven't gotten around to do like my full review yet. It's been out for a while. Now I just buy his stuff through Morphe. There is a Morphe store that's 3 hours away. I do like his products. I might not always agree with him, and that's just kind of my stance on it. Although I am supporting him through buying his products, but I feel that since I do have my channel and my audience, maybe not everyone of my audience, but there are going to be some of my friends and viewers who are going to want to know about some of Jeffree's products, products, and that's why I decided to go out of my way to get these products to review them. Anyway, I'm derailing from my notes. I mentioned earlier on that I felt that part 1 was full of fluff, and I still stand by it. When Shane was packing and Rylan was just kind of off to the side in his feelings, I was like, are you serious right now? I get it. It's your significant other, whatever, but you don't have to go to everything with them. He is not an organ that you need, and I was just getting annoyed. We didn't see Nate going, so it's totally fine. I got really annoyed with Rylan just putting on the little pout that Shane is going for literally a day, like less than 24 hours. The whole golf cart scene, while Watch Your Pause was really funny the first time, it just got annoying after a while. They were in the house too long, and then like the drive over to the private jet, I would have been totally fine missing all that fluff. I felt like that this series could have started Shane getting to the private jet and waiting for Jeffree there. I felt like that would have been a better time instead of waiting 25 minutes, because around that time is when Shane's talking to the pilot because he has this fear of the planes crashing. Shane mentioned they were doing like a lot of whispering. Jeffree knows that Andrew is there and he is filming. So why are we whispering? And when they are driving to the hotel, Jeffree turns around and asks Shane if he's filming. Did you or did you not agree to film this docuseries? And if you did, which you obviously did, why are you questioning if there is filming? They also spent some time in the hotel before they go to the Morphe opening, and I just felt like the hotel scenes were just brushed over. Shane does a flashback of to the one night earlier. They were talking about Jeffree's insecurity of doing a launch because of how he received a lot of backlash from his first Morphe brushes collaboration. I didn't buy them, so I don't know, but a lot of people were concerned. He never addressed the backlash. He mentioned he like looked at his friends and said, am I doing the right thing? But he was constantly being tweeted and tagged in and commented like on Twitter, Instagram, and his YouTube channel. All these concerns, and the comments were either going away or he was blocking them. Morphe's a controversial brand, so you put a controversial influencer with a controversial brand, of course people are gonna have backlash with it. There's controversy about Morphe's brushes. Are they good quality? I know I have featured Morphe brushes on my channel because I truly do love the brushes that I use, but I did purchase the second collaboration that Jeffree did with Morphe. Is because I was planning on reviewing it and I never got around to do it. The color story did not wow me at all. I thought it was very boring and I felt like I could dupe a lot of the colors except for like the greens. I did buy the brush set. It was all eye brushes, and I always need more eye brushes. The synthetic brushes do a lot better than like the actual hair brushes. Like after one wash of the hair brushes, it's all messed up. So I don't get many uses out of those. And then the setting spray, I've heard mixed reviews. I think it smells great, but some people can't stand it. Don't think he got that much backlash except for the palette. I think people were expecting a little bit more with respect to a color story. For me, it felt very neutral for Jeffree, but then again, he's notorious for his pink, and that was most of the palette was pink. But honestly, real talk, if there was any launch Jeffree needed to have insecurity about, were the glosses, because that was a mess. When he was showing the pictures of them on the video, those glosses did not look good. I haven't tried them. I don't know how they actually perform, and I'm still not really interested in trying them just from watching that video. Shane also mentioned that he's nervous about launching his palette with Jeffree, and honestly, whether or not you support Jeffree or his brand, if you support Shane, I feel like you are gonna buy it because a lot of us have been watching Shane for a while. I feel like this launch is going to sell out. People are going ballistic just looking at the piggy mirror and the piggy backpack, so I can only imagine what the palette has in store for us. Based off of Shane experimenting with makeup, I want to believe that it's going to be very colorful. I want to say that the palette is going to have a pig face. It's going to be very colorful on the inside. It's kind of how I'm envisioning this palette to be. I also have mixed feelings about him entering the beauty community. It kind of goes back to how he was comparing himself to the newer YouTubers who make more money than him. A lot of brands have been reaching out to Shane, sending him PR, and there are a lot of creators on this platform that have been doing beauty YouTube for a while, and they're still not receiving PR from like their dream brands that Shane might be receiving. So since Shane is well known, and obviously him being connected with Jeffree Star, brands are going to notice that Shane has this interest in makeup and want to send him product. Funny that he mentioned the whole he's not making as much as these newer YouTubers, but he's receiving this PR from makeup brands, and he's only been doing this for a few months now. I'm not saying that he can't do makeup, everyone's always welcome to it, but I also do find it a little unfair that he is receiving all this PR while these beauty channels that have been doing this from whenever they started only been slowly on beauty. Their slot is just being taken away from someone who is newer to the community, and they're only getting it because like they're well known. Moving on to the next part of the video is the Morphe store launch. I felt that was very rushed in the video, and I felt like that was supposed to be like the high point of this video because Jeffree does do a lot of Morphe store openings and meet and greets, and I thought that this would be a little bit more detailed, and that's where I was kind of upset that it was very glossed over. There was no reflecting after it between Shane and Jeffree. One interesting scene I know everyone was waiting for, Shane points at a photo of Manny in the Morphe store, and it shoots into a conversation that Shane and Jeffree had before going to the Morphe store opening, and he says what he, Laura, Manny, and everyone had was a real friendship, it wasn't fake. And something I wish that he dove into a little bit more, but he said that, he said, but I'm over it. The tone in his voice, I felt like you could tell that he was still hurt by it. I know it's right before a store opening, but it could have been maybe revisited at the end. Maybe it will be down the line in this series. I think a lot of us just want to know what exactly happened, and it does suck. Losing really close friends that you spend so much time with. And if you have Facebook, you are constantly reminded of this photo you were tagged with this person years ago, and it hurts. There's always a little sting in seeing those photos, so I can understand why you wouldn't want to talk about it. That is a conversation I even have with myself sometimes, like when I see these photos, is what happened and why did it happen? And it's funny because after this whole Dramageddon 1 happened, Jeffree is thriving more than ever. But if you look at Laura and Manny, they haven't gotten back to the milestones they were once at. To my knowledge, Manny's situation was different from Laura and Jeffree's, which he was a social climber, which don't use people. That's terrible, just to get to where you want. I'm always worried that someone could be mad at me. Sending texts and emails can be very vague in a way, and I always feel like if I don't add exclamation points or smiley faces, it's gonna come across wrong. But Laura got a lot of backlash because of her racist tweets. I know she calls them retweets, they were tweets. So we're holding her to this really high standard, but also Jeffree has this racist past, and he does this first series with Shane, and he's forgiven, and he's growing as a brand, a person in this community. Laura, can't relate, as Jeffree would say, but we don't know. We haven't heard what actually went down. We are kind of just being the Poindexters, as rich looks like to say. They've come up with their own theories on these topics. I just wanted a little bit more, and I think others are wanting a little bit more. I feel like the weight will be lifted off his shoulders once he says it. That's something that his fans have been really wanting to know. I know it's a very personal topic. That was really funny when they were doing the Morphe grand opening. Shane was looking around the store and he looked at Jacqueline and he said, "So you're my competition," and I couldn't help but bust out laughing because of her whole lipstick scandal. And as I said, watch Tea by Allie's parody video because it is hilarious. 10 out of 10. Would recommend, would watch it again. So it's funny that you see Jeffree's reaction to the whole crowd of the Morphe grand opening, and then you see Shane's reactions polar opposite. Jeffree, he just looked like a robot, like, "Hi, yes, I am here." I don't know, it was like almost like he was numb to these openings because he has done so many, but you see Shane being overwhelmed. I thought it would have been cool for them to kind of sit down after it when they're in the bus going back to the airport, you know, kind of talking things through. Like, why do you do so many of these? Do you enjoy doing them? Is it like a chore because of how often and how many you do? What is exactly like going through your mind when you do these? And like meeting all these people. I met Jeffree when I was 16, 17 in high school. I remember going to his concert at like this very tiny venue, and there were only about 15, 20 people lined up, and me and my friend, we were 1 and 2. But now you add some zeros to that, and that's how many people are meeting him now. That's what I thought that the whole point of this first episode was, not just see Jeffree do all these Morphe openings and meet and greets, but like actually telling how he feels. He now is a Morphe affiliate. He has a code. He has these 2 collaborations with them. His makeup is sold in with them. Obviously there is some kind of connection, and obviously he can't spill the details on his contract with Morphe, but at least he can give, you know, enough information without breaching contract is what I'm getting at. Because even Shane at the end of the video, the last closing word when Ryland's asking them, "How was it?" and all Shane says is "a lot," and he could have just done a debrief like at the hotel when he and Andrew are debriefing about like, how do you feel, and Shane was saying he felt like he was like with the Mob King and that they were in a cult because they're all wearing his jacket, there's high security with them, which I also thought was weird that they were all wearing Jeffree Star's brand. And I get that this documentary documentary. It's called The Beautiful World of Jeffree Star, but was it needed to wear all of his merch? And I know you're gonna say in the comments that, well, Mr. Beast's crew wears all the Shop Mr. Beast stuff too. Yeah, well, they always say invest in Beast, and Mr. Beast is gonna use his money to, you know, give $100,000 to some Twitch streamer with only like a couple viewers or doing some challenges. What's Jeffree Star doing with that money? I don't know. Maybe it's going to charities. Maybe it's to, you know, create new products in his brand. Maybe it's to go shopping. Like, we don't know. But I definitely plan on doing a second part reaction of part 2, which is supposed to be the business of beauty, which I am not going to be too shocked about because I do work in pharmaceutical product development, have an understanding of how much money does go into developing a product, manufacturing it, getting commercialized. So like the numbers that they might talk about is not going to surprise me. The timeline is not going to surprise me, just because coming up with a formula, whether it's for a lotion for eczema or an eyeshadow formula or a lipstick formula, it's all going to take time. And just because you make a formula in this little bowl does not mean it's necessarily going to translate into when you scale up to like these big vessels and mixers, because you're going to run into, is this formula going to be compatible with like this type of metal, and is it going to be compatible in this specific container closure that you are dispensing your product in. I know it's probably going to be interesting for someone that doesn't have this kind of background. I don't know. I know this is like a long rant and it's a lot different from what I usually do on my channel, but I just really wanted to talk with you guys. I don't really have many words left to say, and I would just love to know your thoughts if you did watch part 1. What do you guys think of them doing this second docu-series together? Do you feel like it's needed? Is it not needed? Is it redundant? Do we get it? Are we tired? Kind of like how all these makeup releases are. I feel like I got everything out that I wanted to say. Hopefully I didn't scare you guys off with this video. It was just a lot that was in my mind. If you like these types of videos, I can definitely do more. I'm kind of being more cognizant of what other topics are being discussed in the community. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it entertaining. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and if you don't, thank you for the view anyways, and I'll see you in the next video.